Assalamu alaikum dear students. How are you? I hope that all of you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am fine too. Welcome you all to NIPS Home School. This is Mahmudur Rahman, Assistant Teacher of National Ideal English Version School. Today I am going to take an Information and Communication Technology class for the students of class 9. Our today's topic is Chapter 2, page number 34 to 38. Okay, look at the board at first. This is the class for the students of class 9, subject ICT or Information and Communication Technology, topic chapter 2, page number 34 to 38. This is your lecture number 10. I repeat again, this is your lecture number 10 and your HW number 8. Term half yearly, teacher Mahmudur Rahman, and this is my phone number. Okay, let's start. At page number 34, we will start from Internet Addiction Disorder or IAD. The word addiction has negative connotations and it is usually used with reference to drugs. It destroys life because it is tough to come out of the wave of drugs. Perhaps you are confused thinking that how an alarming and negative word addiction can be associated with ICT and mentioned in an ICT textbook. That means though addiction is a negative word, so why your textbook and has mentioned this negative word to ICT? Some of you who have computers may have crossed the limit while playing computer games. A few of you did not leave the computer even though you should have for an important task. The users who have the internet access have Facebook accounts too. When you post status on the Facebook, you eagerly wait for a long time to see whether somebody gives a like to your status. You feel pleasure when the number of your Facebook friends increases. Perhaps you may have spent more time on Facebook than usual. You might have done better in the examination if you had spent less time on this social network. You could have read some good books or played a bit more outside in the playground or spent more time with your family members. Perhaps you who have been damaging your lives by wasting your time on Facebook or by playing computer games more than you should understand the cause of adding a negative word addiction with the positive words computer and the internet. That means computer and internet both are positive words, and in contrary addiction is a negative word. So a negative word is connected with the positive words. Here is the reason of this chapter and we are trying to explain it. Addiction means when someone, in spite of knowing it is a freakish act, cannot resist the temptation of doing it. What is true for drugs is true for the computer and internet too. As drugs are harmful for life, so are the computer and internet if they are used beyond the limit. That means limitless anything is harmful for our life. Addiction to computer games. An addiction to computer games begins from the childhood and it usually happens due to the ignorance of parents. A computer is a tool and different types of work can be done with it. As many positive words are said of this technology, parents think that what is done through a computer is positive. Therefore, when they see their children sitting at the computer for a long time, they do not think of being alert. Computer games are a kind of entertainment and it has a different dimension. If you play computer games merely as entertainment while staying within the limit, that can be a part of good entertainment. However, this does not happen most of the time. People across age, children to adults, may be addicted to computer games. Now we will have some example of computer addiction. The negative effects. A Korean man died while playing a computer game for 50 hours at a stretch. Can you imagine? And a Chinese couple sold their child to pay for their computer games. These examples remind us that an addiction to computer games is not unusual. If caution is not taken, one can easily be addicted to computer game. As addiction to computer games is new, extensive research has not been done on it. In future, it will provide us with absolute direction. Research has identified the presence of a stimulating chemical in a gamer's brain addicted to computer games. The shape of a brain is altered in those who use a computer 10 hours at a stretch 6 days a week. This is a very alarming news that the gamer, that means who play games at a stretch 10 hours at a stretch and 6 days a week, their brains are changed, altered. Therefore, we should be keep in mind that computer games could be a good entertainment, but it is very easy to get addicted to it, and the effect of it is certainly damaging. Now the next point is addiction to social networking site. Man is a social being. They continued a social relationship all the time. However, the nature of social communication nowadays is distinctly different from the one in the past. It means a different social networking based on the internet. There are some social networking sites such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, etc., through which people can communicate with their circle. Once, these sites were only for the young people, but now people of all ages use it. They use it not for communicating with others, but also for establishing ideologies and legitimizing their opinions. If it was within the periphery of objectives, it would not have created any problems. But it is a matter of regret that addiction to social networking sites has become a problem for the whole world. That means social networking site addiction is a global problem. The psychiatrists have started doing research on this matter, and the findings show that the success of the sites depends on how skillfully they can attract the users. The main factor is how often users visit the site and how long they remain on the site. The more the site is visited, the more successful the site is, and consequently the more money the site will earn. Therefore, if the users are not careful, there is very possibility of developing addiction to these sites. Another interesting factor was identified by the psychiatrists. Individuals have an inherent desire to impress and admire their own self. In psychology, this is defined as narcissism. The social networking sites instigate this inherent human desire. A competitive attitude develops within everyone to make themselves popular. The users upload minute information about themselves, and when people watch and like it, they become happy. The entire system works like a drug, and users waste their time for hours. In fact, a major waste of time worldwide is caused by the immense popularity of social networking sites. So we have found the negative impacts of social networking sites here. The way out of addiction. We have already learned in the previous section that a man can be addicted to computer games and social networking sites just as he can be addicted to drugs. Therefore, both drug and computer game or social networking site addicts display a similar kind of signs and symptoms. It is wise to be careful then to try to get rid of the addiction. There is an apprehension that the users who do not know anything about the addiction may develop a tendency to it. Since you have read about it in the textbook, you may remain careful about it. People may become too preoccupied with it as they do with other sources of entertainment. However, playing computer games does not increase our knowledge on technology. We will just have the enjoyment of playing the computer games, not any technological knowledge. You should be careful about playing computer games so that it may not affect the important works of your daily life. We hope that you will not be addicted to computer games. Similarly, you will prevent the people around you from being computer game addicts. Those who become game addicts show some particular symptoms. They always think about a particular game, and when they start playing the game, they become excited and they cannot do their daily jobs smoothly. They become inattentive in their studies. When they are forced to keep themselves aloof from playing games, they feel discomfort. The point of worry is that the addiction may come back even after they become free from this bad habit. The people who somehow have developed addiction to computer games and want to get rid of it have to acknowledge themselves the fact that they have developed an addiction. That means that first you have to identify that whether you are addicted or not. They have to make a list of the important events of their life. They should convince themselves about the place of computer game on the list. They have to make a list of the problems of their life too, and they should identify the problems caused by playing computer games. They should divide and allocate their time to cover all the important aspects of life: study, homework, playground, extracurricular activities, spending time with the family, and voluntary social works. If they get spare time after doing all of these works, they will play computer games. They should gradually keep themselves busy with creative activities rather than computer games. The users who have been addicted to social networking sites should proceed in the same way to get rid of the addiction. They should try to convince themselves that wasting time on these websites is a kind of addiction. When you have an intention of watching something on social networking sites, you should ask yourself whether you have really any purpose of watching it. If not, you have to control yourself. You should note down the duration of time you spend every time on the sites. After summing up the time spent on it a day, week and month, you should come to a conclusion about the volume of work you could have done during this time. You have to reduce the number of unknown friends from your social networking site to reduce your addiction. You have to convince yourself that you can serve the sites after completing the important jobs. You have to develop the habit of deactivating social networking sites when you have exams or other important events. You will gradually reduce the addiction in this way and finally get rid of it completely. You should remember that every moment of your life is valuable, and it is unwise to spend these moments for any addiction. The last line is very important. Every moment of our life is very important. So, my dear students, today we have discussed on addiction to social networking sites and also playing games, and these are very important two topics for you as you are using social networking sites, and also most of you like to play games. This is your age to fond of these things. So as we have discussed, you should keep in mind while playing games or using social networking sites that you should not waste your valuable times, and you should not playing games or using social networking sites should not hamper your study. Okay, so keep study, take care of yourself. See you in the next class, and your homework from this today's topic is 5 MCQ. Okay, 5 multiple choice questions are your homework from this today's class. Thank you so much. See you in the next class. Allah Hafiz.